Welcome to The Prize Inside. The Prize Inside. A chiropractor's journey in everyday holistic health and vitality. Here, your host, Dr. Jeromy Myers, delves into the remarkable journeys of everyday people who have embraced the path to health and healing. Through his practice, Dr. Jeromy encounters inspiring stories of profound transformation and the power of true healing within each of us. Stay tuned as we discuss various holistic topics and unlock the healing potential that lies within us all.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Whole Health Weekly. Hopefully you guys are having a good night. Got some good input. I am working on my camera angle. So I'm hoping I will get this better. I think I'm going to have to go with a different camera, possibly. I knew that would be an issue because I just don't know what I'm doing as far as like the setup of the camera stuff. So hopefully I will get that figured out. Hopefully you enjoy tonight though. So tonight is all about the latest news out there, like trending things and different health topics that are out there. If you missed Sunday night, we talked about kombucha, which was really fun. So if you don't want to miss any of those things, remember to sign up or subscribe to on YouTube or Rumble, those two apps, the Prize Inside, a chiropractor's journey on either of those. So remember to like and subscribe that aspect. You're looking for this little logo, dude, in the corner, and then you could do that. You can also subscribe on our podcast version, the audio part, which I love too. And that is on everything, Spotify, Apple, iTunes, all of those things. Any of those, if you get on there and you like what you hear, then, get on there. Give me whatever it is, a thumb, a heart, a like, those kind of things that just kind of builds it up. I'm pretty excited where it keeps going in the right direction. And Rumble, I'm at 90 people. If I get to 100, I think I get like a sucker or something. So that's pretty cool. I love the organic aspect. That's why I'm like, man, any input too on the show, please let me know. I want to make this the best I possibly can. Especially coming from a place of a 50-year-old man that doesn't know what he's doing. But I love to talk, and all of you that know me know that. So the other thing is, before I take it off the screen, remember tribe1.substack.com is where you can get the newsletter, and now it live streams to there. My hope is it's sometime I'll do like a private live stream Q&A kind of thing. So that will be sometime I'm going to figure how to do all that out, where we can just sit and just hash out health and well-being stuff. So I think that would be fun for like a monthly thing. But let me know. So tonight is all about what's in the news, what's making the news, some exciting things, as we go. Next week at this time, we'll be doing an interview, which will be really, really cool. I don't want to surprise it too much. It's in the health and longevity world. Pretty excited about that. I just got to get her all the info. Some interviews do well, some do not. That is what I have learned. So one of these days, we're going to get to my awesome party barn. We got another setup up there, and I have to really, really think about, getting that kind of figured out, as we go. But so with that said, tribe1.substack.com is where I want you to go. So with that said, let's get started tonight on a few different articles I found. So what I do is kind of scour the internet, see what everybody's talking about. The biggest thing is like Whole Health Weekly kind of came up with patients of mine, because one of the things that happens a lot of times is, you get so inundated with something happened with my, all right, here we go. Okay. Something happened with the Myers chiropractic one, but A lot of times you get so much information thrown at you, right? And one of the reasons I'm doing this show is to go, okay, does it pass the sniff test or not, right? So we are looking and focusing on what I call the innate intelligence of your body. So does this somehow make the healing of our body better, right? So all these different things you hear about, this supplement, that pill, this supplement, that surgery, this thing, right? All of these things are constantly inundated with you in the idea that there's like, it's just constant fear porn. You're not good enough, all of those things. The biggest thing is to understand the innate intelligence of your body does not believe that. The innate intelligence within every cell of our existence knows that without interference to how it communicates, which is through thoughts, toxins, and traumas, right? Any of those three that occur, if it's clear of all of those and the communication pathways are perfect and everything's working well, your body can take on pretty much anything, right? And so that's what the beauty of innate intelligence and that innate intelligence perspective is. And so that's what we're going to go over tonight. I saw a couple really good mainstream articles that I want to talk about before we get, and then we'll go into Dr. Mercola's stuff. So with that said, let us take a look. This one is interesting. This one's from Science Daily. Oh, okay. Oh, come on. Really? Oh, it's screwed up. Oh, okay. Here we go. Oh, it's way down here. There it is. Okay. So this is Science Daily. Sorry, guys. I'm doing so many. My notes are getting all messed up. Okay. So this one article from Yale School of Medicine, and it was the date of publish is today. So that's pretty cool. Scientists may have found a shortcut to calorie restrictions anti-aging benefits. And when I read through this, we'll like this one. Moderate calorie restriction lowered an immune protein called C3 that appears to help drive chronic inflammation as the body ages. So what they're saying is like kind of intermittent fasting, if you think of caloric restriction, okay? Blocking the same protein reduced age-related inflammation in mice, raising the possibility that future treatments could mimic benefits of calorie restriction without severe dieting. Reducing calorie intake has extended lifespan in animals including mice, rhesus monkeys, and the fruit fly. In some studies, the animal also remained healthier for longer, but severe calorie restriction can come with serious costs. Mice placed on a diet with 40% fewer calories, for instance, became more vulnerable to infections, reproduced less successfully, and showed impaired growth. So, scientists left with a difficult question. Could humans gain some of the longevity benefits of caloric restriction without experiencing those harmful effects? And then this new study was published in Nature Aging, points to a possible answer involving immune protein called complement component 3, or C3. Okay, so let's see where the thing is. I just don't want to read you the whole article. So they did a calorie restriction. They found positive results at between 11 and 14% restriction. So let's say you normally eat, 18, let's say 1,800 calories a day. So they said, reduce it by, 11 to 14%. And then you actually saw this protein that they were talking about reduce in the population, increasing longevity, because one of the things is chronic inflammation. How does chronic inflammation occur? In my opinion, most of the time, it is when foreign invaders are in your body. Okay. So if foreign invaders are in your body, what happens? Inflammation is the key. This is basically the basics of it, right? Why does everybody have chronic inflammation problems? Because we had too many foreign invaders in our body. Okay. So the innate intelligence of the body is overwhelmed in the immune system aspect, and it starts to have a problem. Now, so what you can do, right? And why people feel really good, and a lot of times they'll go this direction is, let's say, there's a few that are like really studied. There's several ways. So don't let anybody say there's one way to eat or, those kind of things. There's several ways to approach this, and there's no one shop fits all either. Like you call it intermittent fasting is the one that people know, right? So there's intermittent time, certain times you eat, and you restrict that time to 12 hours. Let's say a 12-hour fast, a 14-hour fast, 8 hours, those kind of things. So those are all vetted. They've shown pretty good results. Okay. What they're talking about in this article is restricted calorie intake. So reducing it below, let's say 1,200 calories is like a normal person's thing. We go down to like 1,000 calories, right? And so we don't want to go too low though. If instead of 1,200 we did 600, then your body starts going through starvation mode, where you actually cause yourself stresses that actually lead to, increasing what they call the cortisol level, or the higher stress hormones start to produce. And then you have the issues of that. Now, in our world, we don't need more cortisol activating situations, right? So that's a thing, right? And so we, as we go, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, but think about that. If we can start to slowly, let's say you're having a trouble, so start restricting your calories down to what you actually need. And one of the things that I found, that I don't have any skin in the game with it, but it's called MyFitnessPal. It's fantastic. That one I wish I would have thought of. They had like barcoded like every product in the world, and they stuck it in there, and then you could, and it'll literally count your calories for you. You can barcode as soon as you could actually scan a barcode into this thing. It'll tell you the serving size, how many calories per serving size, whatever it is, right? And it doesn't matter what it is. They'll even have, like, let's say you're at a fast food place and you pick, Happy Meal number 4 or something like that. It'll tell you how many calories from the company's website. It's ridiculously fantastic. The nice thing about that, and I agree with that, like you could have calorie restriction. But one of the things, there's a guy named, I want to say it's Mark Hyman. Mark Hyman, fantastic little, I was listening to a podcast of this guy, and he said something that's fascinating. Is it about caloric restriction? Is it about time restricted? Is it about the actual calories? Or is it about the quality of the calories you're actually doing, right? If we had really good high quality calories all the time, would our body go through a lot of this stuff, right? Your body wouldn't take on these foreign invaders if the calories that were being ingested weren't necessarily fake calories and chemicals and all of those kind of things. Okay. So one of the things you can do is, when you're doing that restriction, that time restricted eating, though, those kind of aspects to things, many times you can get into, like, maybe change, let's say you're not into that. Let's say, oh, it's too stressful to do, like, restrict your calories. Okay, that's fair. How about just make all of your calories high quality, organic meats, farm raised veggies, organic fats, all of those things. Quit doing the sugars, the ones that like just absolutely have so much calories. I saw a post today. Why is a spoonful of peanut butter like 90 calories? Right? That's a lot of calories in like one thing, but that is the reality of the thing, right? So a lot of times, and are they high quality? Is it a peanut butter that's actually natural, or is it peanut butter adjacent, which is happens a lot? We have a lot of those kind of situations that happen. Word smithing is my new Wow, that's just fascinating. Is it actual peanut butter or is it peanut butter kinda? Wish they could be a little more honest about that. But just remember that. That was a pretty good article. I like this one. This one's huge in the sense of epigenetics, genetics in general. This article, I'm not sure. Okay, so let me see where this is from. Ooh, okay. I am not going there. Okay. All right, I'm just going to read this one. This one is an article, but it's definitely not from Science Daily, and I ain't going to that website. So, what you eat before age 2 may affect your health 70 years later. And this is published in Britain, I think. I'm just trying to find the vetting of the article, but Britain's post-war sugar rationing provided a natural experiment. People with greater sugar restriction in their first 1,000 days showed lower rates of chronic conditions decades later, underscoring early life's nutrition long-term impact. So what they're saying is under 2 years old, if somebody's not, you know, there's so much happening before 2, right? So you're 2 years old is when your immune system finally gets functional. So from the time you're born to 2 years old, you don't have a fully functioning immune system yet. It has to develop in the universal intelligence of our world, right? So nature, right? So your body, your innate intelligence of a baby hasn't seen the universal intelligence of the world yet. When you're in mama's womb, right? You're just in innate intelligence to innate intelligence. Now we have the baby. Now it's innate intelligence to universal intelligence, right? So the baby's innate intelligence, all the cells of the body have to adapt, right? So a computer, right, that's in a box, not plugged in yet, maybe it's got all these functions and all these things until you turn it on, get it all functioning. Do all the functions work? Did all of it react in a certain way? That is where the rubber meets the road. So it makes sense that if you reduce the amount of especially fake sugars and stuff before the age of 2, the baby is going to be able to, respond to the area and not get these chronic conditions, right? Think about that. If I just told you that a baby's immune system, the immune system is not fully functional till 2 years old, would you want to put toxins even close to that baby? No, right? So everything's going to be natural, like get into the real stuff. It's when you additionally add fake things at that time frame, right? That goes for a lot of things. There's a lot of medical interventions also that could probably wait till they're 2 years old to not integrate anything in because their immune system isn't functioning totally yet. So that would be a good idea. And so that one made a lot of sense, like as you go, so in that British War, they had calorie restriction for these little infants, but now they're not having the chronic things when they're 70, 80 years old. And so that was kind of a cool article. I thought that was a good one. This is another one from that questionable site I just saw. I don't know what that is. It's like an AI of some sort. It just developed I put in the thing and I try to find as many articles as I can in like top rated articles. This week was a lot of good health ones. So I wanted to make sure, we talked about them, but turmeric compound may protect blood vessels from diabetes damage. In rat models of type 1 diabetics, right? Curcumin from turmeric reduced inflammation and improved cellular signaling and helped restore vascular health towards healthier levels. So not only is turmeric one of the best anti-inflammatories you can have, right? Remember, most of us should be taking a nice turmeric type supplement, if not every day, pretty close to kind of build up into your system. Turmeric, bromelain, ginger, all of those nice big anti-inflammatories are one of the most powerful things in the herbal realm, right? And it's because of these curcumins, and then you have piperine, which is black pepper, right? So you'd have all of those things. You add that in, and especially you could also really help the inflammation of your body in diabetic situations. So that is fantastic. Anything that could help that area and circulation and stuff, that would be really, really good. Okay. So I think that is it. Okay. So that is it for yeah, so that's it for the the mainstream stuff. I didn't see a lot of social media. Let me look up. Let me see. Okay. So I want to make sure because the other thing that I can't my office manager gave me a good one this week. Liver. So let's talk about the liver real quick because there's a ton of right now in trending is that everybody's liver is ridiculous, it's fat, it's all of those things, right? So it's this fatty liver condition, right? Well, what I have kind of noticed through some testing and some patients that go through some of our nutritional stuff is I'm not seeing that the liver is the number one source of a lot of this stuff. Now, it's true, you're seeing the stress of the liver itself, but there's a lot of other organ related things that are happening. Okay. One of the things that's happening too is that our gut microbiome is so bad that our liver is the thing they can test better than the gut microbiome itself. And so a lot of times they're missing that it's the gut microbiome is the problem, not necessarily this liver thing. So what's happening, and I've seen it a few times, is there's some really nice natural liver detoxes. The problem with detoxing, major problem with detoxing, if your body doesn't need it, that can be an issue, right? Because if your body doesn't need it, your body can react. And so if you're detoxing your liver through certain things, what if your body's just going to react? What if it's not the right thing to do at that time? Right. And so some people are having kind of reactions to this or feeling like garbage, a lot of different situations. Once I see that, sometimes we'll start, I'm starting with a couple people with the, restoring the gut microbiome at the office. We do that with a few. I'll have a big run of people that like to do or like going into that. Once you learn how to do it, then a lot of times you can have a major success that way. But it's one of those things that just be cautious on that. You're seeing it a lot in TikTok, like liver detox. Here's the next supplement. This situation is the best, right? But the problem is like, yes, they can see, hey, you got some fatty liver going on. But what is causing the fatty liver? We have to dive deeper, right? There's a reason the fatty liver is happening, right? It's a reason your liver's showing up as a stress reaction. What's stressing it out? If it's the master detoxer of your entire body, then that means there's toxins that are happening in your body that are stressing your liver out. And that's what you have to figure out. That's why alcohol is usually where you used to hear the fatty liver. Now it's chemicals in our food that have really kind of kick-started that entire thing. Okay. So just remember that as we go. That would be really smart. Oh, I like this one. These are some of the trending health topics that are out there. A win is a win. Celebrating small, imperfect or slightly questionable victories with the matching sound. Every win, a lucky moment. I would agree with that. That's one reason we do the 1% tribe all the time. We want to celebrate and enjoy, the entire process of health and healing. A lot of times we struggle through it because we just don't understand how to feel the joy through that entire process, right? Yeah, I don't see any other ones that make me go, anything crazy. Yeah. So I think we're pretty good. I would say some back to school suggestions. Some back to school suggestions right now is I would prepare currently. We're in just ending August. I get that. It's time to even start thinking cold and flu season. It's September and October. If you start thinking this way first, then we don't have to worry about it later. So, what I would suggest if I had kids going to school, which I do, we're going to get a nice, good probiotic. Oh, let me show you. So, if you need help finding this stuff, boom, scan that QR code. Talk to me on that. So you scan this, sign up, buy your stuff through there. You'll know it's good. It's the full script is amazing. So as you go into these things thinking, okay, it's August, school started. All these kids are going to be hanging out with each other, right? So they're going to be fatigued. They're going to be all these things. They've ate like crap, let's say all summer. And now we need to switch that. So the first thing is not a vitamin supplement. You'll be surprised, but don't do sugar before you go to work. Don't do sugar before you go to school. Why? Because those are all the sugars that we have, unless you have honey, syrup, something like that. Those are natural sugars. The rest of it, no matter where it's coming from, is typically fake. Like 96% of the sugar in this world is fake. So if you start with a sugary drink before you go to work or to school, you are adding an additional foreign invader to have your immune system go get, right? We've talked about this before. Let's see. I have a perfect, I don't know why I have paper towel here, but I do. I wonder if anyone remembers. Does anyone remember the Great Muppet Caper? The Great Muppet Caper, and the one guy, he was kind of he's the guy that was the juggler of fish, and they were going to steal the fabulous baseball diamond, and they're on the top of the roof, and they're like, "How are we going to get down there?" And he goes, "I got the paper towel." I don't know. I've always thought that was hilarious. Okay. Anyway, so here's how fake sugar works. Okay. We're going to use this. So, and the podcast, you're going to see I have cut a small section of this paper towel off. Okay. So if you can kind of visualize a little paper towel in the shape of a truck, okay, like a pickup truck, you will see that. Now on my screen, you're going to see that. So what happens is they use this chemical, right? This chemical process to have the truck bring the molecule in, the sugar molecule in. The truck then dumps the sugar molecule so your body can use it for energy because it's real, right? So this is the part that's not fake. It's this real sugar molecule. It burns it for energy because that's what your body uses, and that's gone. Now, the problem with fake sugar has always been, what do we do about the truck? The truck is not fuel. It has no actual need in the human body. So what happens? If the innate intelligence of the body feels it out and sees that there's something that your body doesn't need, it gets rid of it. How does it get rid of it? The immune system. So all these T cells, mast cells, name some kind of cells. They come in, they come grab these things, and they get rid of the truck. Immune system's busy, and that was just one sugar molecule. Imagine inundating yourself with a latte in the morning, a giant sugary crazy pop that I like called battery acid, addictive battery acid, at lunch, and then another pop at night. Okay. And so there is a lot of your sugar intake is your immune system so freaking busy. That's what happens. The moment there's a chance for like some kind of infection to come by your kid or you, boom, you're sick. That's what happens. Okay. So my suggestion always, don't do sugar before you go to work or school. Vitamin D, do the ZACEs, right? Zinc, vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E, selenium, right? I add vitamin D, right? K2, magnesium for a whole different thing, right? So that's all, you get all of that in, and not do a bunch of sugar, life's pretty good. Life's very good that way. So just remember that going forward, that this is the time to start thinking that way. Okay. And of course, great sleep, do those things like a normal, like most parents are doing all that stuff. But this sugar thing could save you a lot of headaches, a ton of headaches. Remember that. Don't do sugar before you go to school. Zaces, zinc, vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E, selenium, vitamin D. Just make sure it's all in there. Okay. And K2 and magnesium. Just make sure you have all the, and quercetin and quinine. That helps bring the zinc into the cells. So those are all my majors, but start with something good multi. You'll start the year in a lot different place. It'd be great if your kids don't miss a bunch, right? All right. Okay. All right. So let's go on to the next thing is Dr. Mercola. If you don't remember Dr. Mercola's website, Mercola. He has one of the best holistic latest research activities on the internet. I believe it's a website that he constantly is putting new information on. And so this is where I go a lot of times for kind of the newest, latest, and greatest, if there's not a ton out there. So we're going to take a few of these articles. And the first one is one I want to talk about. So let's see. This article is called "The Missing Gut Microbe Everyone is Suddenly Talking About." Let's see. Okay, so this article is Dr. Joseph Mercola is actually interviewing a lady named Colleen Cutliff, but we're not going to listen to the interview. So if you ever get there, Colleen Cutliff her last name is Cutcliffe. So, and she does a key microbe. Okay. The composition of your gut microbiome may have an encompassing influence on your health. It's pretty obvious it does, including metabolic, neurological, and digestive function. The diversity of your microbiome varies depending on your diet, age, location, and other factors. Age-related loss of diversity, right? So as we age, you start losing your gut microbiome. Remember what we talk about, that your gut microbiome in my head is like trying to build topsoil for a garden, right? So we want to build it up to like a foot thickness. Most of us are sitting at like a few millimeters. That's the problem. So loss of diversity may be a meaningful contributor to age-related changes in function and the onset of chronic conditions. In conventional antibiotic treatment, roughly 20 to 30% of the Clostridium difficile cases recur after initial therapy, and severe or refractory cases carry meaningful mortality risk. Fecal microbiota transplant, which is a kind of a new thing, has been reported in some trials to have cure rates of between 80 and 90%, which means when antibiotic treatment knocks out a lot of your gut microbiome, which it does, to get, I think you don't have to do necessarily a fecal transplant. It could be a possibility, but what about just starting to live in that probiotic world with a lot of different things, fermented foods, a great probiotic, a lot of meaningful outdoor, working in the yard, all those kind of things. The next part of this is Akkermansia muciniphila is among the gut bacteria most studied as a key contributor to the microbiome health. Reduced integrity of the mucin layer has been associated with what researchers describe as leaky gut syndrome. Akkermansia, we'll just call it that because I can't say that last word, is among the strains most closely studied for the interaction with the mucin layer. So, okay. Let's see. So this article is written for Dr. Colleen Cutliff. She's a molecular biology scientist and the CEO and co-founder of Pendulum, a company creating microbiome products. This interview was done as part of Dr. Mercola's explanation into obligate anaeromicrobiome field. I was particularly drawn to Dr. Cutliffe's work on acromantia. All right. So let's read. Yogurt and probiotics have been popular for decades, but what really catalyzed interest in the human microbiome was the advent of DNA sequencing. This allows scientists to begin identifying and differentiating the various microorganisms found in the human body, along with the introduction of fecal transplants, which is very interesting. Lexi's home. They are here ready to see my kid coming in. So I apologize. This is a quote from Dr. Cutliff. Sorry, guys. Well, you'll deal with it. It's okay. So one of the interesting things that people realized was that gut microbiome has the ability to change symptoms and change diseases. This discovery largely came about as a result of research into fecal microbiome transplants, where you take feces from a healthy person and place it into a sick one. She's almost dead. Oh, maybe. That may sound so. I hope I get a bunch of listeners just based on my giant corgi making a bunch of noises. Okay. That may sound really disgusting until you know what actually happens. Incredible medical value. Some of the play. Hang on real quick. I will be back. Hang on. All right. Sorry about that, folks. That dog was going nuts this time. Okay. So let's go back to our article. And I'll start where I left off. Okay. So let's read that one more time. Sorry about that. One of the interesting things that people realized that was that the gut microbiome has the ability to change symptoms and change disease. And change diseases. This discovery largely came about as a result of research into the fecal microbiome transplants, where you take feces from a healthy person and place it into a sick one. That may sound really disgusting until you know that it actually was incredible. It has incredible medical value. Some of the first places where these fecal microbiome transplants were used were for treating Clostridium difficile infections. When you take an antibiotic, it kills off most of the gut bacteria in your gut. This is from a microbiologist. It's not from Jeromy. This is her saying it. This strain called Clostridium difficile now has no competitors. So it can start to divide and replicate. When it gets to high levels, it becomes extremely toxic and ultimately fatal. What they found was that if you transplanted stool into these people that were suffering from this infection, you basically inundated the microbiome with all these new competitors and were able to swamp out and get rid of the Clostridium difficile. You could save a person's life better than the therapies that were being used. Okay. So what the potential, what they're saying is that this one acromantia is one of the ones they're really focusing on, but you can see that they want to do an outside-in procedure, right? So fecal transplant into another human. Not only is it sound disgusting, it is, and it's legitly outside-in, situation. Now, and some of them are life or death situations. So am I against it? No. Absolutely not. If there's chance of death or this, I would probably choose that, right? But the idea is they found some good information as well. If your gut microbiome is that messed up, it is time. It is time to actually do this stuff, right? We try, we kind of do it. There's so much to the gut microbiome that's really hard because it's a difficult trail. It's a difficult trail up a hill, and almost no one wants to do it until it's too late, right? Until we have IBS, until we have all these different irritable, all of these different, gut things that occur are typically and will be connected to your gut microbiome being off. Also, the connection of your nervous system and your spine and your nervous system, making sure your nervous system's communicating. Because remember, your low back, your lumbar vertebrae, your spine, there's so many pieces that connect directly to your gut microbiome as well, your gut intestines, all those kind of things. So just remember, as they come up with this stuff, think holistically, like, whoa, they're finding the gut bacteria. That is awesome. But also, what can we do holistically? We can start improving our gut microbiome, which we've talked about in a few different art things. If you're a giant follower of the Prize Inside with the corgi barking in the background, you will find the answers. All right. This one's kind of interesting. I liked it. There's two on here that are really good, and then I'll leave you guys alone. Okay, so this one is this article is by Dr. Mercola. Study suggests a caffeine sweet spot for fat burn during exercise. If a little helps, more should work even better, right? And new studies puts that assumption to the test and uncovers a surprising reversal. A study in overweight, obese, sedentary young women found that moderate caffeine doses increase fat burning during exercise, while the highest dose tested offered no additional benefit. Participants who consumed 3 milligrams per kilogram, okay, so 3 milligrams per kilogram or 5 milligrams per kilogram of coffee burned more fat during a 40-minute workout than those who took a placebo, showing that there is a relatively small amount of caffeine that was enough to improve fat use. However, the highest caffeine dose, 9 milligrams per kilogram, failed to increase fat oxidation and shifted the body back towards burning more carbs, demonstrating that the more caffeine doesn't necessarily improve results. So you want to stick between the 3 milligrams and 5 milligrams per kilogram, right? So I don't know what that is per pound. If you get into my newsletter, hopefully my newsletter, little AI transcript thing will help me go how many milligrams per pound, so we know what that is. So just remember, caffeine itself isn't the enemy. Too much caffeine itself is. And so that can be a big thing to kind of watch as you go. But that's some good info right there, baby. All right. This one's interesting, and I haven't tried this one, so I want to end it with this. This one is something I want to actually try. I want to see if any of my listeners do it as well, because it sounds really good. May not sound good as a drink, so just hang out there with me. The morning habit your cells may be craving. And that is this article. This golden drink may be quietly fighting inflammation. Okay, so this is Dr. Joseph Mercola. Turmeric water contains curcumin, a plant compound linked to lower inflammation, improve circulation, healthier digestion, and reduced oxidative stress that gradually damages your cells over time. Even though turmeric water contains far less curcumin than concentrated supplements used in studies, consistent daily use supports hydration and helps reinforce healthier anti-inflammatory habits. Curcumin helps support the blood vessel flexibility, which may improve oxygen delivery throughout your body and influences blood pressure, circulation, and cardiovascular health. Adding black pepper to turmeric water may significantly improve curcumin's absorption, because that's what piperine does, a natural compound in pepper that allows your body to retain and use more of turmeric's active compounds. Turmeric water works best when combined with other lifestyle changes, right? So it lowers inflammation, like you'd think. So how do you? I wonder how do you make turmeric water? Is there anything? Let me look that up really quick. If there's anything to turmeric water. Is there anything special? Okay, so how do you make it? Okay, so one cup of water, ground half a teaspoon of ground turmeric. Okay, so like turmeric root, grated, optional but recommended. A pinch of black pepper, a half to 1 teaspoon of lemon juice or freshly squeezed lemon. That'd be good. Honey syrup, honey maple syrup, or the other fake sugars to taste, and maybe a tiny pinch of ginger or cinnamon for extra flavor. So remember that. So that's pretty easy tea to do in the morning, and it may satiate a lot of good things. So that is awesome. That your cells getting that inflammation process going. Most of us take a lot of supplements at night, right? And so or in the morning, but having a nice tea can be there. One of the reasons I got into herbalism, honestly, was I was like, man, wouldn't it be cool if, everything you grabbed, the drinks you do, the foods, most of them are positive for the innate intelligence of your body. So I started personally drinking a lot of teas. In those teas are fantastic, right? So maybe turmeric water could be one of those things that you can add to your daily routine. Sounds like it's pretty easy, like as you go. It's a cup of water, half a scoop of turmeric. You just do have some lemon in there, some honey, some real sugar, right? I'm okay with real sugar. It's not the fake stuff. So a lot of times that is where we could go. Okay. So I thought that was a good one. And I think, my friends, that is the last one. Yeah, that's all I'm going to do for tonight. Yeah, so that's the last article. Oh, I want to look real quick. I always look for no. Anything. I'm not seeing much. Yep, I'm not seeing much in the chiropractic lifestyle stuff, but I got to go across. I always say there's some kind of news. One, and I don't know where he's from. I follow him because he's a fellow chiropractor on Facebook. He had a really cool picture of him adjusting Dolly Parton at one of her shows. She's a big chiropractic proponent of. Obviously, it was really sad. It was like a national mourning of Dolly Parton passing away, but to see that she was who she was, I think that was a neat, Lexi and I had that conversation that was so neat. I was like, it's very rare that a star that grew up. Did you know she grew up in a 1-bedroom house with 11 children, 11 brothers and sisters? That's nuts. A 1-bedroom house with 11 brothers and sisters. That's crazy. And then to make it so big and then build up an area. And then she went back to her hometown and grew that area with the money that she made. I thought that was just such a give back. It's like crazy. So appreciate that a lot, like as they go. But yeah, so that was really cool to see that there was a video of, of Dolly Parton doing that. So with that said, guys, I hope you have the rest of this week. This week, I'm trying to still figure out what condition I'm going to be talking about. It's a musculoskeletal condition this week. If you have any suggestions, let me know. We did hip before. We might go after something in that realm. I was thinking of kind of breaking down different ones that we haven't talked about yet. And so with that said, you guys have a great week. it should be beautiful. Football's starting. It's going to be a good one. So have a great rest of your night. Take it easy.